I'm hurt. You traitor. You lousy traitor. I'm never gonna go see a movie of yours again. I go, no, don't say that. That's horrible. He goes, you suck. I go, I what? Right? I'm Puerto Rican. I'm a woman of color. You don't mess with the hair. Okay? But for them to be all snippy with me, I'm like, no, you Brooklyn, baby.
So then what happened, right? He wanted me to go, like, upstate, you know, to meet his mother.
Oh, that's nice.
I think you need to do that. I'm sorry.
Rosie Perez from Bushwick, Brooklyn, did not grow up like most kids, a victim of abuse, rape, neglect at a very young age. She spent the first 3 years of her life living with an aunt who loved her as one of her own. Rosie was the child of an affair, so there was no room for her despite having 5 half-siblings. But one day out of the blue, Rosie's mother showed up and demanded her back, which left everyone shocked and confused. And only a few days later, her mother would leave her in a Catholic group home, which was even more confusing to a 3-year-old child. Rosie would be primarily raised in the group home and would often face constant physical and emotional abuse from the nuns, whether it was being paddled to their backsides, or how about being backhanded in the face, or better yet, stand in front of this locker for an hour, only to have your face smashed into the locker when you had the nerves to nod off. And all of this from a Catholic school. When Rosie was 8, she would have the opportunity to join her half-brothers and sisters at a new home that opened upstate, but she would get into vicious fights with the other students constantly, while also dealing with harassment of the counselors. One of the counselors, who was dismissed after a student reported that he raped her, actually had Rosie's half-sister cornered, but was only saved when Rosie walked in. And to make matters worse, she would also be subjected to torture whenever she had visits with her mom, who would sometimes punch her in the face for no reason. Her siblings told her that her mother was schizophrenic. Or how about being raped by your half-brother not once, but twice at a young age? And what did her mother do when Rosie told her what happened? Hit her with a belt so hard that she fell to the floor, accusing Rosie of being the ugliest of the sisters. So why would he choose you? No matter what she did, her mother always looked at her as the other child. And throughout all of this, it would be the visits with and from her aunt that would help get her through, as well as a nun who showed her tremendous care, who Rosie confided in. Rosie would leave the group home at the age of 14 to live with her aunt while attending high school. But after a girl took a razor to Rosie's face during what the Daily News described as a schoolyard beating, she would move to Los Angeles to help her cousin with the children. While living in LA, Rosie worked 2 jobs while attending community college when a talent scout from Soul Train noticed her dancing at the club and invited her to the show. Don Cornelius was not impressed upon hearing her thicker than usual Puerto Rican accent, which she had to tone down to fit in. Then she was hired by Bobby Brown's manager to choreograph dance moves. She was also hired to choreograph a Heavy D. But her big break would come when she was in a club where Spike Lee was having a rump shaking contest to see which girl had the biggest butt to promote his new movie School Days. But Rosie, who would become known for the beauty of her upper body, was not impressed. So she jumped on top of a speaker and started violently shaking her little thing, just to clown the situation. But her little stunt would actually gain the attention of Spike Lee, who was instantly impressed by Rosie, and he invited her to audition for the role of his girlfriend for his upcoming film Do the Right Thing, which he originally intended for a black girl. Rosie would ultimately get the part, although she would take Spike to task on the infamous nude scene where ice cubes dripped down her breast. She was not at all happy about it. But Do the Right Thing was a commercial success, launching Spike Lee's career into a different lane, while also giving Rosie Perez instant credibility. Next, she would be hired by Keenan Ivory Wayans to choreograph the forever appreciated and never duplicated Fly Girls, who would become a staple on The Living Color, arguably the greatest satirical show of all time. While she was running the Fly Girls, a young Puerto Rican woman named Jennifer Lopez would catch Rosie's attention, and they instantly clicked. But it's noted that many of the other dancers as well as Keenan had issues with Jennifer, and it was Rosie who actually saved her job. But Rosie didn't feel like Jennifer appreciated what she did, and they would later get into a screaming match. Rosie would also go on to star on on the hit film White Men Can't Jump, which showed off the brilliance of her accent. The film was a big success, but she almost didn't get the part because of the optics of an interracial relationship between her and Woody Harrelson, who was white. But it was actually Woody Harrelson and Wesley Snipes who fought for her to get the part of Gloria, but she left Woody at the end of the movie. As a result of her experiences, Rosie would become a staunch advocate for Latino actresses, as she refused to be typecasted as an angry Latino woman. And moving forward, she would no longer accept stereotypical roles.
I had a terrible, terrible temper. I don't know if that's very hard for y'all to believe, but I did. And got into a lot of fights. And every time I would go home, my aunt would just take that heart and caress it and nurture it and turn it until the bitterness would just dissipate, 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 dissipate.
Rosie would go on to star in many productions as well as co-host The View. Her mother would die of AIDS-related complications, which Rosie visited her bedside before she died, and Rosie would become a powerful advocate and activist for AIDS victims. And Rosie was able to form a close relationship with her biological father. She would also make peace with many of the people she once had issues with, such as Jennifer Lopez, Spike Lee, and Don Cornelius. Rosie states that she holds no ill feelings towards anyone. She was diagnosed with PTSD for the things she went through, but she is in a peaceful place as a result of therapy, which she recommends for all Latinos. Rosie would also marry artist Eric Hayes as she continues to work in film and television, forever celebrated and will certainly never be duplicated. Mrs. Rosie Perez. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Kev from Life is Lyrical, man. I always appreciate y'all. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Show me that love, man. Please let me know how y'all feel in the comments. Once again, this is Kev from Life is Lyrical, wishing y'all peace, love, lyrics.